I'm Jim Kern, president of Hiking Trails for America. And at the moment, I'm in Lowell, Michigan, and I'm here to see Bruce Matthews, who for the past 10 years has been the executive director of the North Country Trail Association. The North Country Trail runs east and west through the northern states of our country, 7 states, from Vermont to North Dakota. By far, on the map, the longest trail in America, but it's not all complete. There are about 3,200 miles that are truly walkable. A lot of private property that represents a problem, but it's quite an achievement that they've pulled off. And I am here to talk to Bruce and ask him some questions about the history of the trail and what his challenges are today.
Well, Jim, it's great to see you. I'm so glad you took an opportunity to come visit with us. It's great to have a chance to finally meet you and share our common love for trails and for the National Scenic Trail System. I'm Bruce Matthews. I'm the executive director of the North Country Trail Association. I've been the executive director for a little more than 10 years now, and I'm actually about to retire. Looking forward to spending more time out on the trails, taking some more hikes, getting some more longer hikes in, and hopefully doing some fishing at the end of those hikes. Our North Country National Scenic Trail has been around since 1980 when Congress authorized the North Country National Scenic Trail as part of the National Scenic Trail System, or the National Trail System as a National Scenic Trail. The law that originally established that in 1968, of course, established the Appalachian Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail as the first 2 National Scenic Trails, and identified the North Country as a trail that would be involved in further study to see if it qualified to meet the standards and criteria associated to become a National Scenic Trail, which it did in 1980. The North Country Trail Association was formed in 1981 as the Friends organization, the partner organization with the National Park Service, which administers the trail, to build and maintain and tell the story and promote the North Country National Scenic Trail. The North Country Trail itself is about 4,600 miles long. As authorized by Congress, on the east, it extends from the eastern terminus on the border of New York and Vermont at Crown Point, which is at the base of Lake Champlain, birthplace of the United States Navy, as a matter of fact, and extends 4,600 miles through 7 states over to the middle of North Dakota. It stops at the Garrison Dam. The western terminus is on the Garrison Dam, which forms Lake Sakakawea as it dams the Missouri River. We have the longest National Scenic Trail in the system with 4,600 miles.
What's the next longest?
You would ask that.
Well,
I think it's Continental Divide.
yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
so
32, something like that. Yeah.
I think of what, 3,200?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're, the North Country is the longest National Scenic Trail in the system. And in the 37 years that we've been in existence, we've been managed to build almost 3,100 miles of that 4,600 mile distance. That's pretty exciting because in itself, that's quite a bit longer than the National Scenic, or than the, I'll back up. Because that's pretty exciting because in itself that's twice as long as the Appalachian Trail. And it took 100 years to build the AT, so we're pretty pleased with our accomplishments thus far. But we still have 1,700 miles to build. And of concern to us is the fact that of that 3,100 miles that's been built, not all of it is protected. Not all of it is permanent. Not all of it can we say it's going to be the trail in perpetuity. And so that's a concern to us.
How much are you really satisfied with? In other words, it's got everything you want.
You know,
and I'm not. I understand that's a difficult question, and it's not as much as we would all like. But what do you think it would be?
I think, I mean, there are sections of the North Country Trail that go through national forests. There's a little bit of it that goes through national parks. For example, Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore And those sections are pretty solid, pretty permanent. They're illustrative of what a national scenic trail should be. Pictured rocks, for example, along the shore of Lake Superior, just gorgeous scenery, world-class kinds of hiking opportunities there. So there's, if you push me to guess, I'd say 15% maybe is ideal.
Got everything you want.
Got everything we want, yeah.
In terms of protection.
Sure.
Guaranteed corridor and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you look ahead, not just a year or 5 years, but as you look on down for posterity, what are the challenges? And can they be overcome?
There's a number of challenges for the North Country National Scenic Trail as we look forward. As we look ahead, obviously finishing the trail, completing the trail is a big thing for us. Much of what remains to be built is going to have to go through private land. And whereas, for example, out west in North Dakota, you've got one landowner for 4,000 acres, you got 4,000 landowners for 1 acre in New York State. So it's a difference in terms of trying to gain those permissions and those easements and secure the protection of the trail as you go through those private properties. It's a tremendous opportunity. We, unlike many of the other trails where you go through pristine areas, wilderness areas, the spine of the mountains like the Appalachian does, or Pacific Crest, Continental Divide, we go through populated areas. So we have an opportunity to build a constituency and a community in support of the trail that is unequaled by other trails. But that has challenges as well, because now you're talking about relationships with people, and those are always difficult to manage. But I think the notion of a National Scenic Trail that is a shared value among all of us, that's going right through my backyard, is something that can have deep meaning for the people that are in those communities, and I think that's something that we can tap into. It'll be a challenge getting that done.
Is there any talk of legislation when you build? If a utility like a railroad or a gas line or a power line comes through, the people understand that that's got an economic value to it. It's for the public good. That's what the Constitution says, for the public good.
Mm-hmm.
And we in outdoor recreation have a bit of a problem. How do we, what we do is for the public good, but it's not as urgent as, having electricity for your electric light bulb in your living room. What lies ahead? Do you have any thought in a very specific way, short of eminent domain and lots of money? Is there any other way to do this? Is there any other way to make this trail continuous? It's frustrating for people like you and me.
Yeah, frustrating is definitely one way to look at it. And it's easy to get trapped in that frustration. It's easy to get sidetracked into a negative, the negative energy associated with that. And the trail will never get built if we stay focused on the negative. I think the focus needs to be on the positive, the opportunities that are there. I think that one of the things that we need to do, and it's certainly an opportunity for us, is to begin to elevate the plethora of recreational values that are associated with trails to the same level as utilities, and that they become a national priority because they contribute so much to the quality of life of the individuals in the area. There's some research evidence in Michigan, for example, in the Traverse City area, where the location of the National Scenic Trail has significantly boosted the property values of the people that live in that community. Well, that's a plus. That's an economic value that you can measure. But in some other cases, a little less tangible a value, but no less important. To be able to have opportunities to participate in quality family recreation in a slow or fast paced, depending on your how fast you walk. The fitness values that are associated with that, and health benefits and so on. need to be elevated, again, to that same level of importance as, somebody putting a utility through, somebody putting a power line through or a gas line. So that's our challenge, and that's not just our challenge in the trails community.
It's like a cultural issue.
Exactly. It's a cultural challenge across the board.